The Royal Courts of Justice in the Strand were opened by Queen Victoria in 1882, but growth has failed to keep pace with the tremendous increase in business. Now, at last, on the site of the old bankruptcy building, they've built a 3-story block housing 12 new courts. There's a new library housing some 40,000 books. Tape recorders are installed in every court, and a central control room will keep a permanent record of proceedings. As you enter, you meet the judge, a fiberglass sculpture by Siegfried Charroux. And today, the other judges were assembled in the Great Hall to receive the first visit by a reigning monarch since, yes, Queen Victoria. Queen Elizabeth was to open the new wing, a £1 million extension to the somewhat antiquated edifice which her predecessor had inaugurated nearly 90 years before. In her address to the judges, the Queen had said,
"The law is the highest inheritance of the King, for both he and all his subjects are ruled by it. I welcome the completion of the new court building, and I congratulate all who have helped in whatever way to build it. I know that my judges and all those who assist them so devotedly will administer justice there in accordance with the finest traditions of their calling."
Racing at Newmarket, racing against time and appalling weather to complete the transformation of the famous Rowley Mile. And it's a win for the builders, beating storm and flood to complete the conversion in time for the October meeting. Escalators up to the grandstand, and from all 3 stands a fine view of the new paddock. The course has been transformed from one of the most bleak and uninviting to one of the best appointed in the country. Originally, they were going to demolish and rebuild at a cost of up to £2 million. This conversion has achieved much the same result for only £600,000, thanks to the help of the betting levy board. Talking of money, this is the first racecourse to have a permanent bank. You don't have to go very far to spend it either. On this opening day, everyone was agreed that it's been money very well spent. Part of the big Today festival at St. Paul's, a fashion show as modern as tomorrow. And hairstyles and fashion wigs revealed by Raymond, or Mr. T.C. Weezy as he's always known. The fashions were presented by a teenage magazine and the boutique branch of a large London store. It seems last year's dolly is becoming more mature, the elegant look for 69. But the wigwam look still goes down with the squaws. By the way, don't miss our special fashion forecast in colour in the next edition, featuring hats as well as clothes. Finally, to underline the quick change advantages of fashion wigs, hop on curl clusters. Inevitably, almost all the election publicity was yes for the new regime, an explicit instruction to vote in favour of the new constitution. It was claimed that the referendum was conducted in an absolutely democratic manner, and we're not qualified to comment. The fact is that in spite of a large number of abstentions, the regime won an overwhelming 92% of the votes. Nevertheless, it's only too clear that many Greeks are reluctant to let their true feelings be known. The surprising sequel to the elections was the allegation that a British MP was approached by a public relations consultant to influence public feeling in Britain in favour of the Greek government. Let's hope that our machinery of democracy will allow the true facts to be known. The birth of the Birmingham sextuplets, the first ever recorded in Britain, recalls that famous event in Canada in 1934. Although the Dion babies only numbered 5, only 3 other sets of twins this century have survived beyond infancy. Obviously, multiple births stand a far greater chance of survival today. But the difference now is that they can occur not by chance, but by drugs. As yet, very little is known about these fertility drugs. The dosage is critical. Too much, and you have twins, triplets, and even more. But in the age of the pill, with all nations deeply concerned to reduce the birth rate, we tend to overlook the many cases of frustrated parenthood, often causing a deep psychological crisis. A lot of human unhappiness could be alleviated when we've learned to handle these miraculous new drugs.
"17 days of waiting at Weston-under Redcastle, and around the cottage a siege force of security and pressmen. An encampment where tedium was varied by moments of hope and anticipation, only to be proved false alarms. The policy of wait and see inevitably provoked frustration and criticism. It seemed an unnecessarily negative approach. Nevertheless, it did pay off, although it was up to the family of John James to take the crucial step. Among the family visitors on that eventful Friday, his brother Michael and his sister Dorothy and his mother-in-law. As so often before, they'd gone to try to bring John James to his senses, to try to make him give it all up. Then from a window, his sister threw the gun, the weapon on which the whole crisis had hung. The police rushed the cottage, and while James was held by a relative, his wife and his children were hustled out to safety. And then the chief character in the drama, John James himself. The rather undramatic charge was unlawful wounding of a fireman. So easily, it could have been so much worse.